Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are discussing about the topic that is Rocky Talkie. And in this, basically, we are discussing the city creation. Basically. One of the person told that basically, uh, this Rocky Talkie basically is connected with the set of stories or what basically. Because Rocky Talkie basically I used it to communicate, and in communication basically it might possible that whenever the roadmap basically are created, that type basically it might be created from set of stories basically. Then one of the person told that yes, basically it's 100% correct. So from 100 type basically there are 100 types of Rocky Talkie created basically. In this basically 100 types of in 100 each one Rocky Talkie basically each contains one story basically. It might possible that it might be possible that many story basically might be real also basically, and many story might be virtual also basically, and virtual story basically which is going to convert to the real also, that is also possible basically. So one of the person told that basically virtual equal to plan basically, and that plan is going to execute, then basically that converts to the story basically. So like this basically things are also basically there. So one of the person told that each and everything basically are connected. So one of the person told that how any earthquake basically got in India basically. So just see basically the Kashmir basically got one earthquake basically. So when we are discussing this basically the Kashmir basically got one earthquake, and in the time basically is 3012, and time is see basically this. So this date and time basically it can be anything basically. So here just we are taken as an example basically. So that basically date and time can basically can be anything basically. So one other person told that basically sequence of infrastructure basically that is also created. So one Rocky Talkie line basically is created, and in this Rocky Talkie line basically hundreds of story basically are dumped, and in this hundreds of story basically from hundreds of story basically the Rocky Talkie is created. That also you can say basically, that from hundreds of story basically the Rocky Talkie is created. So whenever basically the person is going to communicate from that Rocky Talkie, the border basically is created that this will be the story, and this will be the energy which is going to generate if from this Rocky Talkie. For example, 100 types are there basically. In one type basically the SIM card is there, internet is there, mobile is used, phone is used, all education level is there, and like this data basically that is basically in one type of Rocky Talkie. In real basically there are 100 types of Rocky Talkie basically. So like this basically things are used basically. So like this basically also things basically are used. So one of the person told that basically the earthquakes basically are connected with the Rocky Talkie 100% basically. The Rocky Talkie types basically which data basically are connected. In that data basically the Rocky Talkie data basically the stories are also basically dumped, and that basically connects the satellites, and satellite basically connects the earth, planet, land basically. So like this basically the hundreds of types of earthquake basically are connected. So one of the person told that last basically earthquake basically in Russia basically what was that basically. See basically 1.9 was the Russia earthquake basically, last basically. When it was in 29th basically. See basically today is 30 basically. And what is the current earthquake of India basically? That is 2.9 basically Kashmir basically. That also you see basically. See basically. See the chaining system also you see basically. So like this basically the entire chain system of the earthquakes are also basically connected. So one of the person told that basically that Rocky Talkie, whatever data basic, for example, to create this 100 types of Rocky Talkie, I will take one example. To create this Rocky Talkie, 1 lakh stories are taken. So this 100 Rocky Talkie lines, 100 Rocky Talkie lines, 100 Rocky Talkie lines contains this stories, right? Basically, then into the DS basically. So 100 Rocky Talkie lines basically created. Hundreds of lines, hundreds of Rocky Talkie lines basically are created. So from story basically. So hundreds of Rocky Talkie basically you can say infrastructure creation. This is used for some specific purpose. In this specific purpose, these all are the one purpose basically. These all are the one purpose basically. These all are the one purpose basically. So this also comes like this way. See basically. One of the person told that while discussing, lots of sound basically comes. Yeah, that basically is a plain sound basically. Whenever we are recording plain this video, that time basically lots of plane basically passes from here basically. Lots of basically plane basically passes from here. So one of the person told that the plane basically which is passing, that basically is also basically connected with the set of power supply, that is activation. For example, one of the software company told that basically we basically don't keep the power supply data, the activation data to the power supply company basically. We keep just a few datas and activation basically keeps with our control basically. That is basically from plane basically we have given few data to the planes group basically. From there basically do the activation. So like this also basically the activation happens basically. So here basically things basically are 1 lakh stories Rocky Talkie infrastructure created, and this is used for some specific purpose basically. The specific purpose is this basically. So you can just imagine basically the things basically. So like this basically the Rocky Talkie basically. In this basically one of the data is of Microsoft basically. So Microsoft basically purchased the infrastructure, and this Rocky Talkie line basically is one of the infrastructure basically, because everything basically one group basically can't create. So like this infrastructure basically are created, then that infrastructure are basically purchased, and in infrastructure basically Rocky Talkie is one of the infrastructure, and this basically are dumped into this basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about the infrastructure of the Microsoft, that is 1 lakh kilograms sand basically.